All right, our last big island country that we're going to talk about is Papua New Guinea. Looking at the flag that's in the background, you can clearly see that Australia and New Zealand had a lot more in common. Papua New Guinea is kind of the odd man out. They are nothing like Australia and New Zealand, even though they are very close to Australia and they are in this region. Population is about 6.8 million people. The area is 179,000 square miles. Um, the island that Papua New Guinea shares with Indonesia is the world's second largest island, called New Guinea, if you don't include Australia. And sometimes geographers don't include Australia as an island, although technically it is. Languages. This country is the most linguistically diverse country on earth. In other words, there are more languages spoken here than anywhere else in the world. There are over 800 languages that are spoken. However, English is the official language. But anytime you have that many different languages that are spoken in a region, you know its literacy rate probably isn't as good as Australia and New Zealand's. So it is low at 63.4%. However, it used to be upper 40s, lower 50s, and so they have improved it in recent years. Life expectancy, it too is much lower. Papua New Guinea is more in that realm of the third world countries because it is near or south of the equator. If you remember back to our Africa notes, we defined third world countries, and that's where Papua New Guinea kind of falls into place. Because it is a rainforest and it has that little tribal pockets, it too isn't, they don't live as long there as well. So 65 years for males and 69.5 for females. The land, you have a lot of mountains, you have much more farmland in Papua New Guinea than you did in Australia and New Zealand, and you have that rainforest because it is near the equator. It rains every day, it's hot and humid. So temperature, hot and humid all year long. So it's a rainforest climate, tropical rainforest. Plants and animals. Now, this island is twofold. Yes, it has varied and unique animals because it's an island and it's isolated, very similar to Australia and New Zealand. However, it also has unique plants and animals because it has a rainforest. Plants and animals that only exist in a rainforest type climate. History. Um, Australia used to control Papua New Guinea. It doesn't any longer, and so it got its independence in 1975. And its federal capital, the capital of Papua New Guinea, is Port Moresby. All right, so label Papua New Guinea. You can see all of the mountains. You can see all the different islands. So it's more than just the island of New Guinea, or at least on the eastern half of the island of New Guinea. So on your map, put an X on the western side because that was Indonesia. We studied that with other parts of Asia. The rest of it is all Papua New Guinea. All right, so all of these are the states and territories that you need to know. So you need to know New South Wales, Canberra, the federal capital. You're not going to have to identify that on a map, but you're going to have to know that fact. Then you've got Victoria, Tasmania, South Australia, Western Australia, Northern Territory, and Queensland. And then, of course, you've got to compare these three countries because it's a matching. So from most to least, don't write this down now. I'll go over this again on Monday as a review, but that's how I would study this information, simply because that's how you can study for the test. But what I do want you to put down today is about Polynesia. Now, the only thing you need to know about Polynesia on a map is where that region is. The region of Polynesia means many islands. It is the largest of the three island regions in Oceania. And because it's many islands, there are lots of them. So there are 11 islands in Polynesia. It also includes New Zealand and Hawaii, but they're not going to be included on that portion of the test. It's going to be a matching. So I'm going to put all of these islands down, and you have to match it up with Polynesia. Again, if it says US or NZ or FR, it tells you that it's not an independent country or an independent island. Many of them are not, because these are islands that, like Midway Island, for example, was colonized or controlled by the United States during World War II, needing military bases and so forth. So American Samoa, Cook Islands, named after Captain James Cook, French Polynesia, that's an easy one because it has the word Polynesia in it, Jarvis Island, Johnston Island, Kiribati, Midway Island, Pitcairn, Tonga, and Tuvalu, and then Samoa, also known as Western Samoa. Okay, so that's this big triangular shaped region. You can see the Hawaiian Islands are in that north part, New Zealand is in the southern part, and it goes way out to even Easter Islands, which are off the coast of Chile, where we just got done sitting. So that whole blue region is Polynesia. All right, Micronesia means small islands, and when you look at the map, you can barely see any islands at all, but they are there. They're just too small to show up on a map of that size. There aren't as many, so there are 8 islands you have to match here. The first one is Federated States of Micronesia. That should be easy because it has the word Micronesia in it. Gilbert Islands, Guam, another U.S. controlled territory. Marshall Islands, Nauru, Northern Marianas, Trust Territory of the Pacific Island, also known as Palau, and Wake Island, which is controlled by the United States. So Micronesia is this northern region here, and you can see there are small little dots, but nothing big. Like you can actually see some of these islands in Polynesia and Melanesia. Here, they're just dots on a map. And the last one is Melanesia. Melanesia literally means black islands, and it doesn't mean because of the people, it means because of the black sand beaches due to volcanic activity. So there are lots of black sand beaches in Melanesia. So there aren't as many. There's only 4 here. Fiji, one of my places on my bucket list. New Caledonia, controlled by France. Solomon Islands, Vanuatu, and Papua New Guinea is in this region too, but you're not going to match that up. You need to specifically know where Papua New Guinea is on the map. And Melanesia is this yellow region here. Okay? All right, so the test map looks like this. I just simplified it. I outlined the regions. So you're going to need to know the states and territories of Australia. You need to label Papua New Guinea and New Zealand, and then Micronesia, Melanesia, and Polynesia.